The final Friday night of the 2022-23 season, Washington hosting the Miami Heat, and it was a display of athleticism, passion, and commitment from the young Wizards. A night where it's not only fan appreciation night, where they got to see alum from back in the day show up in Capital One Arena to give them some love. They also witnessed a victory. Final score 114-108. Wes Hall here in the perch with Christy Winters-Scott, Chris, Drew, Megan joining us momentarily. Quickly, Christy, your thoughts on what we saw tonight? This game, young kids, they wanted a dub and they got one.
Absolutely. We saw a balanced effort on both sides of the ball. It wasn't just the balance of scoring tonight for Washington. It was the balance on the effort on the defensive end as well. They were +5 on the glass. They were doing their due diligence on the defensive end to only give one shot or no shots. They were getting in passing lanes as well. So I love the overall effort tonight by the Wizards.
Indeed, as well. As a matter of fact, we've got Megan McPeak courtside right now with Corey Kispert after the Wizards got a dub tonight.
Corey, it's fan appreciation night. Final time you're rocking the Classics. You guys put on a phenomenal show for them. Miami made a run, but just talk about the resiliency that you guys had, especially as a young core, to fight back.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable learning experience for our young guys. How to close out a game. Thankfully, we had enough cushion, and they didn't have enough at the end to bring it back and take it from us. But really, really good learning experience for those guys. How to close out an NBA game and manage the clock.
Essentially, when you look at this young core, yourself and Gaff are really the true vets of this young core right now with the amount of injuries you've been dealing with. Talk about how you've grown in yourself over the stretch of the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's a kind of a chance for me to open up the toolbox and show everybody what I've been working on, right? The roster gets trimmed down and my role all of a sudden becomes different, and let the whole fan base know the kind of stuff I've been doing behind the scenes.
I got to ask about your thoughts on Jay Huff and that 360 dunk towards the end of it. We've seen him do it in the warm-up line. He finally brought it in game. Just talk about what you saw from him.
Yeah, Jay's got no conscience on the floor, so totally a fan of it, and it was the exclamation point for our win.
Anything for the fans at home who couldn't make it tonight?
Thank you. We love you, and we're really sorry to see these go.
Thanks, Corey.
Thanks.
Megan McPeak hanging out with Corey Kispert, who had 19 points tonight. Perfect from the charity stripe, 6 for 6, and that's a really interesting number, Chris and Drew, because the Wizards made 7 threes, and then the Heat had 7 free throws, but then the Wizards made, let me check my box score, 29 free throws tonight, Chris and Drew.
Hey, listen, sometimes the free throw line can save the day, and that was exactly what happened tonight. The chemistry, you know, these guys only been together maybe 3-4 games. Everything's new to them. They're trying to prove themselves as an individual, yet they're still trying to play team basketball. But I gotta say, if you could get to the foul line offensively, it saved the day. All those fouls, go to the line.
I'm so happy for Daniel Gafford. Yeah. And it's not just because Drew and I said we want to see him extend his range. He didn't only extend his range, he made those shots when he extended his range. And the fact that he started 9 for 9 from the field, he missed that one shot, and he was so mad at himself because he wanted to go 10 for 10. But that is what kind of towards the end of the year, in-game live development looks like. So now Daniel has confidence going into the summer. And hopefully the coaching staff will have some confidence in Daniel Gafford hitting 12 to 15-foot jump shots, not just being a rim roller, a shot blocker running the floor, but somebody that, you know, in a crunch, shot clock winding down on a pick and pop, he can now hit that, because now he becomes an offensive threat when you've got Beal, Kuzma, Porzingis, Gafford. Like, good luck trying to figure out what to take away from. And I've heard Drew say this, and when I get it, sometimes coaches kind of put you in a box and they think this is what you do well. You know, Drew played a certain way, and then when he left a certain city, he went somewhere else and his game opened up like a blossom. I see that with Daniel Gafford. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do next season.
Indeed, Chris, because Gafford last year had 99 blocks in the season. Coming into tonight, he needed 1 block to tie that. Last time I checked, 99 blocks, and he said, hey, Drew, would you say 99 blocks and ain't one? What?
I said 99 problems
and a turnover,
but a block ain't one.
I love it.
It's
I
Good
love
Friday.
it. Well, check this out. We've got a poll for everybody at home watching right now. Simple. What part of Gafford's game do you like the most? Dunks, the blocks, or the athleticism? You can go to nbcsportswashington.com/vote or use that QR code on the screen. Christy, I will allow you to answer the question first. Which one do you three would find the most impressive?
Oh, man, I got to go with the dunks because, first of all, his rotator cuff was, like, just incredible on a lot of those dunks throughout this season. And I just thought the power that he had on those as well. A lot of those were put-back dunks where he was cleaning up the glass on the interior. So I thought they were statement makers as well. Yeah. Blocks, you know I love blocks. So it was very close. But I'm going with the way that Gaff dunks the ball. Daniel Gafford, he owns the paint on both sides, but the power and the enforcement of those dunks, I'm going to go with that.
All right, Drew, what say you?
You know what? I'm not copying here, and I'm not saying this just because Christy just said it. I got to go with the dunks. Man, athleticism, that shouldn't even be on here. Like, get that out of here. 13%. We have some smart fans. Get that out. That shouldn't even be on the polls. Dunks and blocks, I'm going with dunks. How about you, Chris?
I'm going to go with athleticism.
You would.
Because the athleticism leads to the dunks.
All of that.
And the blocks.
There you go.
So we're going to keep it in there.
Ditto. Good job.
Look at that. And I got to fix it. Like we said earlier, we got 99 problems, but a block ain't one. That's what you said, Drew.
That's what it was. Yeah.
We got to get the stamp right on that. No, but one thing I think we can all agree on is the fact that I appreciate the way that he has stuck to it down the back end of this season. Being available on the court, we know that that was something that he was always concerned with. And like you said, being able to play on both ends of the court with a ton of intensity and aggression. Chris, forgive me for not hearing it when you said it in real time, but can you remind people about his feelings when he missed that one shot on the court tonight?
Oh, he was in his feelings. He was upset because you remember the ball just kept rattling in and out, and it just lipped out, and he just walked back, and you could just see the emotion where he was just frustrated. You know, a perfect 10 for 10 night would be amazing, right?
Yeah.
9 for 10 is better. The man shot 90%. You went to school. You do the math. Look at the reaction. Look at this.
What I like is he's holding himself accountable now. He expects to make that shot. That's what I like about it. You know, some guys say don't show emotion when you miss. I don't think that's true. I like some guys say, man, that was me. I need to make that. Dirk Nowitzki's always get mad at himself when he missed the shot. You know what? Because you're holding a standard for yourself and basically holding yourself accountable. So I love seeing that.
Christy, what does that say to the other guys on the court, especially those younger guys, including a Jay Huff or Quentin Jackson, who were like, hey, Gaff cares about every time he puts his hands on the rock?
Every possession matters, first of all, but when you shoot the ball, you should be surprised when you miss it. That's the confidence level that you need as a scorer. And now that Daniel Gafford has put together a skill set that has commanded respect from not only his teammates, but from opponents as well. And not just in that restricted area on the offensive side, but in the paint, at the nail, where he's pulling up for pull-up middies and knocking them home. So he has the respect of many, but you have to have confidence, and you have to be surprised when you miss it.
Too true. You know what's interesting too, Drew and Chris? Miami averages about 109 points per game. Tonight, final score 114-108. What does it say about this young Wizards team that was able to really, they weren't even close to getting that 108 until the last 2 minutes of the game. What does it say about the young guys and their commitment to 4 quarters of basketball? It's
huge. And another number, the 111, that kind of stuck out early in the season. The Wizards won 19 games in a row, holding opponents to less than 111 points. I think that's always been a magical number defensively for this team, no matter who is out there. And we saw a little bit of that tonight. What you think, Chris?
You know, defensively for these young players, it's hard because there's no practice time. You're actually just going out playing a game, not really knowing the defensive coverages. And we've talked about it before tonight's game. There was a lot of times where the Wizards were giving up a lot of wide open threes. It happened in Atlanta. It happened to Milwaukee. So for them to kind of do better in that aspect of it, and to close the game out. I like what Corey Kispert said, you know, when it's under 5 minutes in a game, it's closing time. And Wes Unseld Jr. had those young players out there. So to close the game out, get a win, see Daniel Gafford progress, see Corey Kispert get better, that was kind of the recipe tonight for victory. And we know that the Miami Heat didn't have their best players out there on the floor. They just played last night in Philly. They're now into the play-in tournament. They move on. We got one more before we go. Where are we going? We'll talk about this.
Formula One, Cinco de Mayo in Miami.
You already know, Drew. You get me started going on this show. I appreciate it, guys. I want to bring Megan in this conversation as well before we let Chris and Drew go. Megan, we've talked about free throws, intensity, Daniel Gafford. What say you was the main ingredient for the Wizards winning tonight?
I think it was their confidence, in all honesty, and what we've seen from them as of late, especially with these young guys. And I know Chris and Drew just touched upon it, but I really liked what Corey had to say at the end of the game with regards to the young guys and them, you know, getting the experience of closing out a game, especially when you're up big against a team. And they made that run in the final 3-4 minutes. And these young guys, were able to figure out how to get it done. It might not have been the prettiest, but at the end of the day, a win is a win. Whether it's pretty, ugly, or sexy, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, these are reps. These were the reps that I was talking about at the beginning of the game in my open, with talking about, you know, what Wes Hall Jr. was saying with these guys, and the fact that, as Chris and Drew said, you don't have a lot of practice time, probably the final 3-4 weeks of the season, let alone the final 8 games of the season. And now you add in the fact that you're missing part of your roster because of injuries, and you're playing all of your younger guys, and they haven't had a lot of time to practice with each other. They have figured this out on the fly, and I think that's a testament to the confidence that each one of them have right now, because they're getting these opportunities and they're getting these reps. So I think for me, the most impressive thing about tonight was the confidence with which everyone played with tonight on both ends of the floor.
You know what? I want to add that there should be a vote of confidence for their adjustments from this team. Again, the Wizards hit 7 for 33 threes, so that's 21%. Obviously not seeing it go to the hoop the way that they wanted to. But from the charity stripe, remember we talked about if it's not hitting from outside, attack the rim. 29 free throws for 37. That's 78%, Christy.
I'll take that, right? You have to make those adjustments. You can't continue to shoot it and not attack at those elbow areas, especially against Miami's zone. That collapses them. That sends them into rotation. So the fact that they got 29 free throws down, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love the aggression of that, especially for young players coming in, right? So they're not just settling for shots outside. They're attacking the defense, making them make decisions at the rim.
Indeed, and to that point, Megan, I think about a guy like Quentin Jackson, who scored all 6 of his points at the charity stripe. You've had a ton of opportunity to watch him play on Down with the Go-Go, and of course with the Wizards. What have you seen about his maturation, and Johnny Davis included in that for that matter?
I think, and that was actually, to Chrissy's point, that was something I asked Daniel Villarreal at halftime, was 1, you were defending without fouling, and 2, you were actually forcing the Miami Heat to put you at the free throw line. And that was something that they really liked, and they wanted to continue in the second half. So a credit to them for doing so. But when you look at Quentin Jackson, I think, you know, you look at him, and in all honesty, he's never seen a shot he doesn't like, but he's not forcing the issue. And that's not a knock on him with what I said about the fact that he's never seen a shot he doesn't like. He has the ability to score the bucket. Like, he can score the ball. That's not in question. He has proven that he can do that at the G League level, and he's showing that he can find ways to try and score as well too at the NBA level. And I know, you know, especially in Atlanta, the ball just wasn't falling when he was getting those looks. You see some of those dunks that he's had, and they're just not going down. It's not that he can't do it. It's just the ball is not bouncing in his favor, but he's still playing with confidence. He's still showing and going out there and defending. He's still playing on both ends of the floor, and he's playing within himself. He's playing within what the coaching staff wants him to do, what the scouting report on the opponent is as well too. He's not trying to do too much. And when you think of young guys, once they step foot on the NBA floor and they know they're going to get minutes, sometimes they can do too much. And I think when you look at this squad right now, and this youth movement, as I like to call it, for the Wizards that we've been seeing over the course of the last handful of games, the young guys have not tried to do too much. And the fact that you can get that from 1 or 2 guys is one thing, but the fact that you're getting that type of mentality from all of them. Wes, you played sports. Christy, you played and you coached. When you have a group of young players that you have to play, you can lose a little bit of control with trying to corral them in and make sure they're sticking to things. But this group has not done too much within themselves. They've played their game. They've stuck to what their strengths are. You see a couple of glimpses of their weaknesses, but for the most part, they never try to do too much.
Indeed, and no person embodies that more than, wait for it, Xavier Cooks. 22 minutes tonight, Xavier Cooks on the court. He's only played like 5 games with the team. Finished with 10 points, knocking on the door of a double-double because he had 9 boards. And, oh, by the way, he felt a little stingy tonight, so he had 3 steals on top of it, Christy.
He was in gaps. He had great acceleration after he got steals, but it's those little plays down there in the trenches, in the mud, right? Getting to the offensive glass, getting the tip-ins, getting those extra possessions for the team. Those are invaluable opportunities. So he took advantage of it. He didn't have to settle for somebody passing him the ball or finding him in the quarter court. Yeah. He was able to make his own way, and you'd love to see that.
It just shows you that when guys are given the freedom, you know, to kind of go, play, be free, make your own name, make a way for yourself, you see these kind of results. Everybody kind of leans to whatever their natural proclivities are.
Instinctful.
Corey's like, hey, I knock down threes. That's what I do. I'm going to go hang over here. Kendrick Nunn's like, I can cross you over, take you into the back, or I can hit you with this lefter. This is what I'm going to do. Everybody found their spot, including Jay Huff, who, for some reason, he's sneaky athletic there, Megan. He's got some sneaky athleticism, and the way Jason Smith puts it, he also has a really dope beard as well. What say you?
I mean, Sticks is not wrong about the beard. It's pretty dope. I know him and Drew have had some beard conversations. But, I mean, you know, it's a credit to him because he's grinded it out. He's another guy who's grinded it out in the G League and just waited for his opportunity. But the biggest thing, and I know I've said this before, and I don't care if I sound like a broken record, with these young guys, they have grinded it out, and when their opportunity has come and their number was called, they were ready. And that is the biggest thing, is being ready when your number is called. Having the confidence to step on the floor with NBA players and still play your game. Not get too, you know, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Not be deer in the headlights. And Jay Huff has done just that. He has figured out that he can translate his game and how he can translate his game from the G League to the NBA, still be impactful, still have a huge, you know, part of what they have done. And he's getting his numbers, and he's not forcing it. Again, he's not trying to do too much, and that says a lot about these young guys. And Jay Huff, you know, obviously gets named the Defensive Player of the Year for the G League, but then says, well, guess what? Yeah, you got to play defense, but basketball is a two-way game, and I can do it on both ends of the floor. And since he has been up with the big club, he has shown that he's not just a Defensive Player of the Year. He can get it done on both ends of the floor, and I think it's phenomenal. I think it gives, you know, Tommy Shepard, Amber Nichols, the entire Monumental Basketball overhead a lot of things to look at when they come, you know, exit interviews and off season and what they want to do.
It was a treat also for Wizards fans to witness this. Again, Jay Huff just showed up on the team not even a full month ago, and yet this is the contribution that he's bringing. But that's what we appreciate. But don't go too far, because guess what else? We got some more treats for Wizards fans tonight, including Bradley Beal, mic'd up all night. Yes, he's talking about fashion. Why not? Because guess who he's sitting next to tonight on the bench? Kyle Kuzma, and we already know how he feels about fashion. Both of these pieces coming up in Wizards Postgame Live. Don't move. Style Kuzma and Panda mic'd up only on NBC Sports Washington.
Missy Elliott.